How can a fan base be so divided at each other's throats, almost like, political discourse forums where you talk like people who really dislike each other and wouldn't be friends with each other. Like Niner fans usually are supposed to be friends. That's the whole point, right? You meet up before the game, you wear the jersey, and you say, "Bro, I like the Niners too, bro," and you're like, "Yeah," but no. Now you have to be like, well, what kind of Niner fan are you? Or do you like Brock or do you like Trey? And if not, and it's like, then it's like, a rumble in the streets and people start singing and it's like, anyway, why is that happening with this fan base? I mean, there's so much success.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You just that Warriors reference from the movie The
Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically that's what it is. West Side Story.
Yeah, West Side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I think a lot of it is just online stuff. I think a lot of it's Twitter, a lot of it's YouTube comments. Because in real life, like these people, like when I'll say something on Twitter and people react like you POS, like just going crazy. If I was to say that same thing to a person in real life, that would not be the response I would get 99% of the time. Maybe they would disagree, but it's just that you're taking the humanity out of it when you're online. So I think a lot of it's that. And the other part is just we're still looking for a quarterback. And some people are like what they saw from Brock. Some people liked what they saw from Jimmy. Some people want to see what Trey can do. I mean, Jesse had that poll on his Twitter. Jesse asked a question, if no context, if you had to cut one, who would you cut? Trey Lance or Brock Purdy? And I think like 1,800 people voted, something like that. And it was literally 50-50. It doesn't get any more divided than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kyle sort of set this up, and the way I look at it is the Niners are in this really unique situation where you're in year 7 with a coach and you don't have a quarterback. Like no other coach gets to do that. And Kyle's a celebrity coach who hasn't won a Super Bowl. How many other coaches in professional sports are famous without hardware to back it up?
Right.
Any? And none? So he's in this class by himself where everyone believes in him. Everyone trusts him. Everyone thinks he's going to be a Super Bowl champion eventually. So no one criticizes him. So the fact that this quarterback drama is still going on in year 7 doesn't fall at his feet. People just pick sides. And half the people yell at one quarterback, half the people yell at the other quarterback, as if they're supposed to develop themselves, as if Kyle didn't pick them, as if Kyle didn't pit them against each other.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the collective fan base's reluctance or scared reluctance to hold Kyle accountable for freaking anything because they're afraid he's the best coach they can get. So they just, pick sides on these quarterbacks.
I mean, it's a result of this, what's the word I'm looking for? This, I was going to say administration. That's not the right word. What am I thinking? This, the Kyle Shanahan era.
Regime.
There we go. Regime was the word I was looking for. Thank you very much. It's a result of this regime's inability to lock in a quarterback position. I mean, think if we had like a franchise quarterback right now, what would we be talking about? What the hell would we be talking about right now if we had a franchise quarterback?
Free safety. Is Jair Brown going to start week 1? Right. Or is there going to be a special 3 safety package?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But no, that's not what we ever talk about with this team. And again, we were talking about Bill Walsh today. I made a video about Bill Walsh today. I think if Bill Walsh were alive and we asked him off the record or to give his candid opinion of the 49ers, I never met Bill Walsh. My dad knew him very well. I'm guessing something he might say fairly quickly. There you go. Would be maybe off the record. Good team. Where's the freaking quarterback?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's the freaking quarterback? And the Niners are so proud of their roster or their defense. But the way a defense works, it's only as good as its weakest link. Let's say Travarius Ward misses a month and Ambry Thomas replaces him. Well, you got a huge problem now, and all the great players you have on your defense are kind of being wasted because Ambry Thomas is getting roasted left and right. So defenses are fickle. Quarterbacks are not. If you got an elite one, he's there. You can count on that if you can keep him upright, which the Niners can't do that either. So, yeah, I feel like it's a little bit of an unserious team. They talk about their roster left and where is your quarterback? It's year 7. How long is this search going to go on? I feel like we're on season 7 of a really entertaining show, but at the same time, the longer you get in, the more pointless it feels. It's like this is going to go on forever. Every season is kind of like the last season.
It's not the fan base's fault. I mean, really what this boils down to is the 49ers have been unable to find their quarterback, and therefore the fan base is fighting about quarterbacks. So it's really the fan base is divided because of the 49ers. They need to figure it out. And
on the one hand, you got guys that are like, that love a Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy type. Like, you know what? No, he's not the best quarterback in the league, but he's better than what we've had in a long time, and we're winning, and I like winning better than losing, so let's go with it. And that's fair. Then you got other fans who are like, you know what? No, I don't care that we haven't had a franchise quarterback since 1999. I don't freaking care. That's what you need. I'm not settling for anything less than that, even though this is a good story, and that's fair. And what it comes down to is Kyle's presenting imperfect options for fans to choose from, and he won't choose from any either. So this is what you get.
Yeah.
A really, really pissed off fan base of a team that wins a lot, but doesn't win a championship.
It's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's really not. Like, people are just picking who they want to pick based on what options we have in front of us. It's really the 49ers' fault for not having this position figured out. A lot of people say it's really hard to find a franchise quarterback, and that's true. But it's been 22 years. 22 years we've had 7 draft picks, or I think it's been 7 rounds for 22 years, but let's say 22 years, 7 rounds each draft, and we still have not figured it out. I mean, what's 7 times, what is that, 154 draft picks we've made, and we've been unable to find it? Like, it's a problem, man. And it's the most frustrating thing in this fan base. It's reasons why we fight, and it's what makes things frustrating. I would love to sacrifice views on my YouTube channel and not have to talk about quarterbacks. I would take that L. I don't know if you would, because I'm a fan, but I would take that loss of views and not have to talk about quarterbacks during the offseason. That's all I want.
Well, one thing I've been thinking about is, the fan base is divided, and like, I can further that wedge any day. I can do it. And a lot of us do. And I think one thing we could think about is not doing that, because Brock didn't do anything wrong. Trey didn't do anything wrong. It's sort of a meta conversation. Pitting them against each other isn't really fair to them or the team or the fan base. And so maybe there are ways to bring people together. And I was trying to think about it today. Like, what would Bill Walsh think of these quarterbacks? I think he'd like both of them. I think he'd want both of them on his team. I think you can see a little bit of a very poor man's Joe in Brock. You can see a little bit of a very poor man's Steve in Trey. And you look at what Bill did. He had the real Joe. 2 Super Bowls, traded for Steve anyway. Like, that guy was never settling. So if he had the real Brock, he'd love him and see all of his great qualities. And he'd still have his eyes open for the next quarterback. And he'd still want to coach Trey Lance. I don't know that he would have traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance, but if Lance was on his team, he would have coached him up.
I feel like he would have drafted someone better than Brock and Trey if he was here.
I don't think he would have shied away from Justin Fields.
He would have been
all shied away from Justin Fields. He would have been all over Justin Fields.
He wouldn't have let Patrick Mahomes slide by.
No.
He would have he would have caught that.
He wouldn't have wasted his time with CJ Beathard.
Yeah, so he may like them if they were given to him. Like, he would have been like, yeah, these guys have good things about them.
Yeah, I can coach him.
Yeah,
but I'm not done looking.
Right, he's not done
I'm not done looking.
And if he was bringing quarterbacks in, he probably wouldn't have brought either one of them in, if we're being real.
I don't see a world where Bill Walsh would have traded 3 first-round picks for a quarterback who played Division I, AA, whatever. He wouldn't have done it. He never made that big of an investment in a quarterback ever. He drafted Joe in round 3. He traded a 2nd and a 4th for Steve. Those were the investments he made. He would have been the guy looking at Trey Lance now, being like, ooh, I'll trade for Trey. Let me call up the Niners. I'll give you a 2nd. I'll give you a 4th. Now he would have gotten Trey. Not the way the Niners did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's crazy is the year before, I believe, 49ers were at 14th, and Justin Herbert went at 6 overall, I think, or 7th overall. That was the year. That's the year you trade up. Go get Justin Herbert. The year before in 2020, instead of drafting Kinlaw, you draft Herbert. You make that trade then.
Correct.
See, that seems like something Bill Walsh would have done more than, and he's not a trade up to go get a guy anyways, type of guy. But if you're going to make that trade, that was your opportunity. Or Patrick Mahomes, when you were all in on Jimmy Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins, those were the opportunities. That's where the failure occurred. Bill Walsh may have liked Trey Lance, may have liked Brock Purdy, but he probably wouldn't have brought either one of them here in the first place. He probably would have.
So let me leave this fans with this before we leave. We all need to agree on this. It's why Flav in particular, I keep calling him out by name, really bugs me, because all of his animosity is 100% directed towards Trey. And I feel like Trey is not the bad guy. Brock is not the bad guy. Jimmy was not the bad guy. We got to stop with that. Yeah. If there is a bad guy here, it's Kyle. It's Kyle. If there is one, he's responsible for all of this. Both these quarterbacks are so young. He's the coach. He's supposed to be in charge. He's supposed to be nurturing them and pointing them in the right direction for their careers, and he doesn't do that. So it's him. We need to focus on him.
And it's okay to say Kyle Shanahan is good at this, but he's not good at that, right? Kyle Shanahan is a very good play designer. He schemes guys wide open. He's really good with the run game. All those things are true, but he's also not good at finding the damn quarterback. That's also true. It's okay to say both.
Here's what Kyle's really good at. His run game's great, but he's not responsible for the run game. That's Bobby Turner and Chris Forster. His play-action pass game off of the run game, people talk about, like, the play-action passes look just like the runs. He does a good job of marrying them so you can't really decipher on the field what's what. Shanahan's been doing that for a long time. They're good at that. But when you get past that and you get to the drop-back passing game, rudimentary. No one's scared of it. It's not something they even really spend that much time on, which is great because, I mean, they're always winning. They have a great defense. They don't have to play that way, but eventually you do. Eventually you do.
I mean, it's a weakness. So it's okay to point out that weakness. And it's when you have a weakness, as a football team, as a coach, you need to work on that weakness to correct it. But the drop back passing game for the 49ers is almost non-existent.
It's an afterthought. It's an afterthought. From the design to the quarterback to the pass protection, it's all an afterthought.
Yeah.
As if they're just going to take a lead and just sit on teams for every game. Like, it's not that easy. Yeah. You don't win Super Bowls like the 1972 Dolphins. You just can't do that anymore. At a certain point, you're going to have to score 35 points, 40 points against Mahomes. You're going to have to be in a fourth quarter where he scored a touchdown in a minute and 15 seconds. Now it's your turn. Can you score in a minute and 15? No? Okay, you lost.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
it's not just Mahomes. It's Allen too. It's Burrow too.
Yeah. And that's Herbert why I want to keep. That's why I want to see Trey, because maybe he can, maybe he can't.
But we need to know.
Can't, I need to know that too. We need to know if he can't. Also, it's not just we need to know if he can. We need to know if he can't, because we got to move on and find that guy.
Right. And like Brock could improve. I'm not saying he can't, but if he improves, it's going to be incrementally in places he's already good at. Like, he'll read defenses a little bit better. He'll be a little more accurate. Like, is he ever going to have a stronger arm that pushes the ball 40, 45 yards down the side? No. He can't improve in that, especially after this injury. So there's a cap. There's a cap for every player, but that's why some people say, like, yeah, I mean, I'm open-minded. He can improve, but I just don't see how this one thing can really improve. And if it doesn't, that's a limitation. As Bill Walsh said, there have been Hall of Fame quarterbacks without the full inventory of throws, but not many. Not recently.
And not a lot recently.
Not a lot recently.
Yeah.
So he wrote that in 1997.